Tell me it isn't true.
There are worse suitors.
How could you do this to me? If you were chief, you'd rescind the offer he made. You're not yet Laird, Colin.
It was, so we first shot it, we kind of had shot it before where she's just still in it. Like she's almost just accepted her fate. But I think story-wise, it felt like it happened too quickly. So we then shot more of like her like making the decision and like breaking down a bit before going to do it. I think she gets to a point of desperation where she realizes that it's going to be the baby dying or being taken away or doing that act, and I think she puts the baby first, and it's not to do with her own survival, it's 100% to do with the baby's survival. It's so funny, a lot of the time in those scenes I think you shoot so much more than what it actually makes it into the TV show. And yeah, we shot, that was my first day on set. Yeah, big scene to start with. I mean, Tony's such a phenomenal actor. I love working with Tony. He's excellent and really embodies love it. I mean, he in every possible way, he does that. So I thought, I was excited to be working with him, to be honest. So this is going to be great.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, you know, I've done nudity scenes before, and but for that day, or love-making scenes, it obviously wasn't me. We have this sort of nudity, what's it called again? The
Intimacy
coordinator on set as well, which we never, I certainly never had in the old days, if I can put it like that. But it's lovely to have someone there that everybody's sort of happy, and we can make choices. Make it real, make it true, make it feel organic, if I can use that word. But and that everybody's happy about. But no, it's I mean, Hermione, this cast, this great collaboration of actors in this, and they're very talented and they're very professional, and we just sort of prepare for it on the day, and then you go for it. So but it was I think I remember having a director at one point said, "What are you reading, Tony?" And I was merely joking, because it's nice once they say cut and people put their clothes back on. It's nice to have a bit of levity to lighten the mood. And he's like, "Tony, what are you reading?" And I said, "The Kama Sutra." And he didn't.
Again.
He didn't again.
Yeah.
I keep reading it over and over again. Anyway, Hermione
Keep
laughed.
finding those little
Jamie
nuggets
was
in
like, "For God's sake, Tony!" And I was like, "No, but what are you reading?" I said, "Well, the Kama Sutra." And he's a big fan, Lord Lovett, of different positions.
Positions of power.
Positions of power.
Yeah.
But certainly, I've done another show in the past, Mary and George, where I had to do a lot of nudity, and but that was with 5 other men. So you know,
You've got range.
it was. I've got range. It was refreshing to do it with the fairer sex, as it were.
Ned, yeah, it's a lot, isn't it? Because he's trying to navigate, and I said this before, he has such a, guys, can we behave ourselves? We're at work.
Sorry, Ned.
He has so much to navigate with both of them, because they're both so volatile in very different ways. Like, obviously he's very explosive and temperamental. I think Colin can be incredibly arrogant and headstrong, and trying to bend his mind is a bit of a
There's a lot of nodding heads in this room.
Yeah.
That was sort of
Everybody's
the
going,
arrogance was like, that was the easiest part for you.
Yeah, actually
that
was.
sort of came the most
Actually is.
naturally.
Yeah.
But then also, like, he has an emotional tie to them all, right? And especially with Ellen as well. So with these guys behaving the way they're behaving right now, it makes it really difficult.
Do you ever feel a bit adoptive of us?
100%, yeah.
Or adopted as well. Because
I feel adopted as well. I feel like you're my. I think without the
That's quite
Mackenzies, he's dead probably, Ned. To be honest,
It's such a hard
he's out on the
character for
street.
Connor, isn't it?
So he has to navigate doing the right thing whilst also not getting himself
Head
in
killed.
There
too
was
much
that
of a hot.
beautiful one where
hot
you,
boiling water.
when Ellen comes back in and
Stop it.
I, oh sorry mate.
Go ahead.
I was just complimenting you.
You go. What was the compliment?
You turn around and you're like, don't speak to your sister that way, and it's
Yeah.
so passionate, like such like paternal care of her.
Who's your
That's a
favourite?
great scene.
Okay, it was just
That's a
answering
great
my
scene. That
question.
though, when I say to him, "Don't speak to Ellen that way," and he snaps and says, "You're not my father," and it's the first moment you get of Ned going, "Oh, I need to watch my place.
Oh, yeah,
And that's
yeah.
a really cool scene.
That's a really cool
Yeah, it's
scene.
really cool.
I love that scene.
The pressure of McKinney, which we see kind of planted in the earlier episodes, just continues to grow and grow. I think the financial situation of the clan is in dire need of repair. They're forced to come together, or someone else will just superimpose them. And this is why Ned is here, because he guides the two to come together. We need an experienced head. The boys are so young.
It's also quite a collaboration with Ellen. That whole concept of them two coming together comes from
And
Ellen.
not even knowing that Ellen is at play.
Is a lovely nod to how Ellen should be probably, in a modern world, she would be the rightful heir,
Yeah.
right? But because of the times, she can't be.
Yeah.
I think it came from quite a dark place of reliance on the future changing and sort of holding on to as much as he could. And he knew if he said no, then he'd have nothing. Yeah, he'd have the men, but he'd have no decision-making power within that arrangement. So by taking War Chieftain, there's at least a bit of flexibility in the meantime. And I think quite sadly, I think a part of his brain knows that Colin might not last that long, and that stuff might be left at home.
And I also think
In the back of his head, just you think back to the 18th century, someone with an injury like that. I don't think there's a huge amount of hope.
You'll be proven wrong. As we see Gary last in the
Exactly.
test
You're
of
also
time.
in control, like you said earlier, of all the men, and if the men are on your side, you can manage to make the whole clan turn. Right?
I think if he wanted to, he could stage a little coup.
Right,
So
right,
he's
that's
just
enough
keep
of that.
he's just keeping himself in prime position, I think.
With her dad, but also what I immediately think of, and especially in season 2, Colin is. Well, I'm not going to talk about season 2, but in the Colin is just nearly slipped there.
The panic on
Panic.
your face.
But no, what I was going to say is his tension, his physical tension, is also creates this like emotional state. I think he blames him for his injury in ways, because you will see some of the lines of the show, like they were meant to. Colin was meant to lead the raid, and Dougal led men astray and caused absolute chaos and for the horse to buck anyway, which has led him to have this injury. With the relationship with his dad, he's now just totally outcast. This was his moment, his test, and he couldn't do it. And Peter Mullen has this amazing moment when he comes up to me and he's like, "Cry, go on, cry." He holds my face, and it's just absolutely heartbreaking, and it just kind of puts Colin's stoicism out. He's forced out his comfort zone and total vulnerability in front of his father. It's just so powerful. It was a really great scene to film. That scene felt like Colin was such a little boy in that moment, because Ellen was lovely to see that relationship with Ellen as well, because Ellen had been visiting him. We see this love with Ellen and Colin, and how close they are together. And then when Jacob walks in the room, the atmosphere just changes, and Colum's attention is just on his father and how he wants to just do him proud, and tries to prove that it wasn't his fault. And it's just, like you say, it's heartbreaking. He's just a little boy in that moment, which is something we've not seen. It showing the contrast of that character, which was so great and a joy to film.
I loved filming that scene. That was a fantastic scene to work with Peter on, and I remember him saying them handing him the stunt whip, and he was like, "No, we do one with the real whip. He can take it." And I was like, "All right, okay." No. He gets them. They were like he was just going out. He was holding it back, like, you know, but to be able to actually just feel it, and there was this real connection and understanding between the two of us. It was that was an ace scene to film. And Peter's great. Peter's a real pro to work with. I mean, he will be just chatting with you like this right up until action. Like, he'll turn and you'll just be like, "And then where are you going on Saturday? Because there's this fantastic."
So I was in Sainsbury's the
market."
other day.
and then he'll just snap like that, and put this beautiful character will just come out, and you really have to
Stillness
play
of the
along.
man. And I think that's what I've tried to emulate as well. Watching him, I'm like, it's also because I'm playing his son, try and have that stillness he has on set. He doesn't move a muscle than this, and it's the most watchable thing you can see.